Good morning. We're going to continue learning about commas with the second usage, continuing off what we had done a couple of months ago. We'll have a short teaching today on one more usage of commas. This rule that we're going to be talking about today is using a comma to separate independent clauses. So let me share screen because we're going to talk about connectors. Our connectors are the coordinating conjunctions, and they're up here: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. One mnemonic way of remembering it is to think of the word fanboys. That's the first letter of all of these. These function as connectors, so they can connect words, as in, I am almost dressed and ready, or phrases, my socks are in the living room or under my bed, or clauses, they smell really bad, comma, so they will be easy to find. The reason you need a comma in the third example is because both sides of that sentence are standalone independent clauses. They both have a subject and a verb, and since they can stand alone, you have to have a comma before your coordinating conjunction or before your fanboys. I have two examples down at the bottom. The first one, you wore a lovely hat but forgot to put on shoes. No commas required because the second half of the sentence is not a complete independent clause. The second example says you wore a lovely hat, comma, but you forgot to put on shoes. And again, since that example has two standalone independent clauses, you do need the comma before your fanboys, before your coordinating conjunction. So if you're uncertain as to whether or not you need a comma and you have a sentence, compound sentence like that, and you're not certain whether you need the comma, try reading the second half of your sentence. And if it stands alone, then you need a comma before your conjunction. All right, if you have two independent clauses and you do not separate them, you've only separated them with a comma, then we have what we call the dreaded comma splice. So let's talk about the dreaded comma splice. Here's a bad example, a good example of showing how bad it is. She wore a lovely hat, comma, it was Easter Sunday. That's two complete thoughts. It's only joined by a comma. It has no fanboys in there. That's a comma splice or a run-on sentence. Whatever it is, it's bad grammar. So there's four simple ways that you can change or correct a comma splice. Number one, you add a fanboys. She wore a lovely hat, comma, for it was Easter Sunday. Number two, you could change the comma to a semicolon. She wore a lovely hat, semicolon, it was Easter Sunday. You've now connected the two independent clauses with the semicolon. Number three, you could make each clause a separate sentence. She wore a lovely hat, period, it was Easter Sunday. Or you can add a subordinator, a word such as because, while, if, when, since, etc. She wore a lovely hat because it was Easter Sunday. Now that subordinator connects the two parts, and that's four simple ways you can correct a comma splice. So you want to watch for that. Next thing we want to talk about is fanboys, fakers. All right, there are words. Let me move on. Fanboys, fakers. The words like however, therefore, moreover, and words such as that, they're not fanboys. They are called conjunctive adverbs. So what you need to do if you're using one of these words, however, therefore, check to see if you have a complete thought on both sides of the conjunctive adverb. If you do, then use a period to make two sentences, or you can use a semicolon after the first complete thought. Either way, you're going to use a comma after the fanboys faker in the second thought. And I've given you two examples here. Basketball is my favorite sport, period. However, comma, tennis is where I excel. So notice the comma after your conjunctive adverb, however. Or another way to fix it is to say basketball is my favorite sport, semicolon, however, comma, tennis is where I excel. So it's very important, whichever way you connect the sentences, just remember that you're punctuating it properly with that comma. So I recently ran into Dixie and Dennis at a restaurant one Sunday, and Dennis asked me, he said, do people really not know how to use commas? And chances are we do know how to use commas, but I think everybody appreciates a gentle reminder of some of these grammar usages. So that's what these are, gentle reminders, just to make sure that what we're doing is good, that we're doing the best that we can possibly do in our writing. And to keep it spiritual, I'm going to quote Matthew 5:18. from the NIV. It says, "For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished." Those are the words of Jesus. And Jesus was concerned with the very smallest marking of the Hebrew alphabet, that not even that would pass away until everything he declared would be fulfilled. So if Jesus is so concerned with small things, we ought also to be concerned with the very smallest of our punctuation, one of the very smallest, which is the comma. So I hope you enjoyed. Thanks a lot. Bye.